I died on a Tuesday, choking on the bitter irony of a life sentence for a crime I didn't commit, my last breath a silent scream against the cold bars of that hellhole cell. But death wasn't the end. It was a goddamn reset button, slamming me back into my body 3 months before the trap snapped shut, heart pounding like a war drum in my chest as I stared at my reflection in the ladies' room mirror of Hargrove and Associates, my firm's name still gleaming on the glass door behind me. Aria Thompson, 28 and unbreakable, or so I'd thought, until the betrayal carved me hollow. Now, with the ghosts of my future screaming in my ears, I knew exactly who I'd bury first. My mentor, Victor Hargrove, the silver-tongued bastard who'd sold my soul for a corner office, and right beside him, my fiancé, Jake Riley, the man who'd whispered forever, while sharpening the knife. That morning in the mirror, my hazel eyes, once wide with ambition, now burned with a feral clarity, the kind that comes from tasting oblivion and spitting it back. I'd been late to the office by exactly 2 minutes, a slip-up that in my old timeline had Jake glancing at his watch with that passive-aggressive twitch of his jaw, planting the first seed of doubt in Victor's mind about my reliability. But this time? Fuck reliability. I straightened my pencil skirt, smoothed the silk blouse that hugged my curves like a second skin, and stepped out into the bullpen of Hargrove and Associates, the air thick with the hum of printers and the faint scent of overbrewed coffee. New York's legal elite grinding away in this glass tower on Park Avenue, where deals were sealed with handshakes and souls with NDAs. The office hadn't changed, sleek mid-century desks cluttered with case files, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Manhattan skyline like a postcard from hell, and Victor's corner suite looming at the end like a predator's den. I could hear him now, in my mind's echo chamber. The smooth baritone that had lured me here straight out of Columbia Law, promising the stars if I'd just play the game his way. "Aria, darling, you're a shark in heels," he'd say, his cologne, a mix of sandalwood and entitlement, lingering like a bad aftertaste. But I knew the truth now. He'd been skimming client funds for years, using me as the fall guy, forging my signatures on those phantom wire transfers while Jake, my Jake, fed him intel on my every move, all for a cut of the pie and a ring on my finger that was just another noose. I dropped my bag at my desk, ignoring the sidelong glances from the associates, pretty young things with their JDS fresh and unscarred, dreaming of billable hours and beach houses in the Hamptons. Sarah, the paralegal with the bleached bob and perpetual energy drink in hand, waved me over. "Girl, you okay? You look like you saw a ghost." If only she knew. In my first life, she'd been the one to slip me that anonymous tip about the discrepancies in the Emerson account. Too late, of course, after Victor had already pinned it on me. This time, I'd use her, mold her into my unwitting ally without a second thought. "I'm fine," I lied, flashing the smile that had closed multi-million-dollar mergers. "Just traffic from the bridge. What's the word on the Reynolds deposition?" Small talk to blend in, to not raise alarms. But inside, my veins hummed with rage, a live wire ready to spark. Jake's desk was empty. He was probably nursing his oat milk latte in the lobby cafe, scrolling LinkedIn for his next ego boost. We'd met 2 years ago at a firm mixer, him the hotshot litigator from a rival shop, all dimples and dirty jokes that made me laugh until my sides ached. "You're the real deal, Aria," he'd murmur in bed, tracing lazy circles on my thigh. "Lies, all of it." In the end, he testified against me, his voice cracking just enough to sell the remorse, but not enough to save me from the gavel's fall. By noon, I was buried in discovery docks for the Prosser antitrust suit, but my mind was a battlefield, replaying the endgame I'd clawed through in that nightmare timeline. The arrest, FBI agents swarming the office like wolves, cuffing me in front of the water cooler while Victor feigned shock, his hand on my shoulder like a father's consolation. The trial, 12 strangers in a fluorescent-lit courtroom, devouring Jake's perjured tears as gospel. Prison, Sing Sing's gray walls closing in, the whispers of white-collar bitch following me to the showers, until one night, pills swiped from the infirmary became my escape hatch. Death by aspirin and regret, they called it. But waking up here, gasping in that bathroom stall, Time folded like origami, and I vowed, no more victim. Aria 2.0 was a reckoning. I needed proof, irrefutable, courtroom killer proof. Victor's secrets weren't just skimmed funds. They were a web of offshore shells tied to Russian oligarchs, bribes disguised as consulting fees, and enough dirt to topple the DA's office if it went public. In my old life, I'd uncovered fragments, enough to confront him privately, begging for mercy like a fool. He'd laughed, poured me a scotch, and said, "Loyalty, Arya. It's everything." Then Jake walked in, and the scotch turned to hemlock. This time, I'd document every thread, starting with his calendar. I waited until lunch rushed thin the floor, then slipped into his suite, the door clicking shut behind me like a loaded chamber. His desk was a fortress of mahogany and malice, family photos with the wife he cheated on me, briefly, in a fever dream of what-ifs, a crystal decanter half full, and his laptop, password protected, but I knew it. Victory 77, the year he made partner by screwing over his own mentor. Pathetic. I plugged in my thumb drive, initiating a mirror backup, while scanning his drawer for the burner phone I'd remembered him stashing. There it was, black and innocuous, buzzing with a text from VI. Emerson payout confirmed. Loose ends? My blood ran cold. Victor I, Hargrove, texting himself reminders. Loose ends. That was me. Heart hammering, I forwarded the thread to a ghost email I'd set up en route that morning, then wiped my prints, literally, with a monogrammed handkerchief from his drawer, and ghosted out. Back at my desk, I felt eyes on me. Jake, materializing like a bad habit, leaning against my partition with that boyish grin. "Babe, you're a million miles away. Rough commute." His hand brushed my arm, and I fought the urge to shatter his knuckles. In this skin, he was still charming, still the guy who'd surprised me with rooftop picnics in Brooklyn, but I saw the rot now, the micro-expressions, the way his eyes flicked to Victor's door like a dog awaiting scraps. "Just the usual grind," I said, twisting away under the guise of grabbing a file. "You keep it light," probe without pouncing. He launched into a rant about his latest case, a celebrity divorce that had him rubbing elbows with TMZ stringers, and I nodded, filing away the details, his late nights at the office, the unexplained deposits in our joint account that I'd chalked up to bonuses. Lies upon lies. By 5, as the sun dipped behind the Empire State, casting long shadows across the carpet, I excused myself early, another deviation from the script. Date night prep, I lied, kissing his cheek with lips that tasted like arsenic. Out on the street, the December chill bit through my coat, New Yorkers bundled against the wind as they streamed towards subways and Ubers. I ducked into a Dwayne Reed, buying a burner phone of my own, cash, no trace, then hailed a cab to a dingy internet cafe in Hell's Kitchen, the kind where hackers nursed Red Bulls and dreams of the dark web. There, under flickering fluorescence, I accessed the mirror drive, decrypting Victor's files with a script I'd half remembered from a cybersecurity elective. Jackpot. Spreadsheets of laundered millions, emails to shell companies in the Caymans, and oh, sweet Jesus, a video time-stamped 6 months back. Victor and Jake in a strip club booth, toasting to the Aria problem, with shots of Patron. Jake's laugh a dagger twist. Tears stung, hot and furious, but I blinked them back. No time for weakness. I compiled a dossier, screenshots, timestamps, cross-reference with public records, and emailed it to Sarah's personal Gmail, anonymous, with a note. Look closer at Emerson. Trust no one. She'd bite. Curiosity was her vice. Then, to myself, a dead man switch, set to release everything to the Times if I didn't check in daily. Paranoia? In this game, it was armor. Night fell like a curtain as I cabbed home to our loft in Soho, exposed brick and overpriced wine racks, the life we'd built on sand. Jake wasn't back yet. Perfect. I rifled his side of the closet, finding the telltale, a receipt from that jeweler on 5th, not for my engagement ring, but a necklace for her. Some intern named Lila, the one who'd accidentally CC'd me on flirty emails in the old timeline. Proof piled on proof. I snapped photos, uploaded to my cloud, then settled on the couch with a glass of Merlot, rehearsing my lines. When the door clicked open at 9, his tie askew and breath mint-fresh to mask the bourbon, I met him with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Rough day?" I asked, pulling him down beside me. He melted into it, oblivious, spilling about Victor's big announcement tomorrow, a promotion he'd angled for, stepping on my neck to climb. I listened, nodding, my hand on his knee like a loaded gun. That night, as he snored beside me, I lay awake, plotting the first strike. Leak a whisper to the associates about Emerson irregularities, let the rumor mill grind Victor's gears. But deeper, a gnawing doubt. Had Jake always been the snake, or had Victor poisoned him first? No matter. Betrayal was betrayal, and I'd carve my name into their regrets, one calculated cut at a time. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving, the kind of New York winter that seeps into your bones and stays there. I arrived at the office 15 minutes early. Overcompensation, a deliberate flex to erase that 2-minute ghost. The bullpen buzzed with pre-announcement energy, interns ferrying coffee trays like offerings to the gods of ambition. Victor held court by the conference room, his Armani suit impeccable, salt and pepper hair styled just so, regaling a cluster of partners with anecdotes from his Yale days. "And that's how you turn a loss into legend, gentlemen," he boomed, spotting me and beckoning with a manicured finger.
Aria.
"Just the woman. Join us. Your insights on Prosser could seal the deal." If he only knew how I'd seal his fate. I glided over, all poise and professionalism, murmuring about antitrust precedents while scanning the room for Sarah. She was at her desk, eyes glued to her screen, fingers flying, my email, no doubt, unraveling the first thread. "Good girl." Jake sidled up as the group dispersed, his arms snaking around my waist possessively. "Proud of you, babe. Victor's got his eye on you, for that senior associate slot." Lies, all of it. In the old timeline, that slot went to him after I was disbarred. I leaned into him, whispering, "Can't wait to celebrate." My breath hot against his ear, a promise laced with venom. The announcement came at 10 sharp in the boardroom, Victor at the podium like a televangelist, projecting slides of revenue spikes and team triumphs. And to Jake Riley, our newest partner, let's give it up for the man who's redefined litigation in this city. Applause thundered, confetti cannons popping like gunfire, and Jake ascended, all humble pie and heartfelt thanks, his eyes finding mine in the crowd. Couldn't have done it without my rock, Aria. The room awed. I clapped until my palms stung, ball rising like a tide. Lunch was a minefield. Firm-wide toast at Delmonico's, steak tartare and sidelong glances as whispers circulated. Sarah had talked. I saw it in the associates' furtive huddles, the way they avoided Victor's table. He noticed too, his laugh a touch too loud, his scotch refilled thrice. "Market jitters," he dismissed to me, clinking glasses. "Nothing a sharp mind like yours can't fix." I smiled, demure, but inside, I was tallying. The video was uploading to a secure Dropbox, cross-referenced with IRS filings I'd pulled overnight. One more piece, the Prosser client's affidavit, buried in Victor's safe, and the dominoes would fall. Afternoon brought the first crack, an email from the managing partner, summoning Victor for a discreet review of Emerson. His face when he read it, pale as ash, jaw clenched, was a masterpiece, one I'd frame in my mind forever. Jake cornered me in the copy room, steam from the machine fogging the air. "What's going on?" "Victor's losing it." Feign concern, I did, pulling him close. "Heard rumors, financial stuff. You know anything?" His flinch was microscopic, but there, guilt's tell.
Me? Nah, babe.
We're solid. Solid as quicksand. By close of business, the tension was electric, partners peeling off early with excuses of family commitments. I lingered, hacking Victor's voicemail from the server room. "Victor, it's Dimitri. Funds delayed. Handle your end, or we're done." Russian accent, thick as tar. Bingo. I forwarded it to my dossier, then slipped out, texting Sarah. "Meet me. Neutral ground. You've got questions, I've got answers." We convened at a dive bar in Midtown, vinyl booths sticky with spilled beer, jukebox crooning Springsteen. Sarah slid in opposite, her bob disheveled, eyes wide. Arya, what the hell? Those files. If it's true, Victor's cooked. I sipped my gin and tonic, laying it out, half-truths wrapped in urgency. He's using us all. But we can stop him. You in? She hesitated, then nodded, fire in her gaze. Ally acquired. Home that night, Jake was wired, pacing our loft like a caged panther. Babe, something's off. Victor thinks there's a leak. I poured wine, handed him a glass, watched his throat work as he swallowed. Then helped me dig. For us. He bought it, spilling fragments, late-night meets at Victor's club, consulting gigs that smelled fishy. I recorded it all, hidden in my sleeve mic, his voice damning him syllable by syllable. Week blurred into strategy. Anonymous tips to the SEC, planted docs in Jake's files to taint his promotion, Sarah feeding me intel from the inside. Victor unraveled visibly, snapping at staff, canceling meetings, his eyes darting like a cornered rat. One evening, he called me to his suite, door locked, voice low.
Arya, loyalty.
You've always had it. Help me weather the storm. His hand on my arm, pleading. I met his gaze, seeing the monster unmasked. Of course, Victor. Family first. Then, in the elevator down, I hit send, the full dossier to the U.S. Attorney's Office, time-stamped and ironclad. The raid hit Friday dawn, black SUVs screeching up to the tower, agents in windbreakers storming the lobby. I watched from my window across the street, coffee steaming in my grip, as Victor was cuffed in the foyer, silk tie askew, face a rictus of denial. Jake next, dragged from his desk, sputtering. This is a mistake. The bullpen erupted, gasps, phones buzzing, Sarah shooting me a thumbs up from her station. Interrogation rooms swallowed them, but I knew the script. Victor lawyering up with denials, Jake flipping like the coward he was, trading Victor for leniency. By Monday, headlines screamed, Park Avenue predator. Top lawyer caught in $20 million fraud scandal. My name? Cleared, hailed as the whistleblower's shadow, anonymous but untouchable. But revenge's aftertaste is ash. Jake called from lockup, voice breaking. Arya, it was Victor. He threatened me, said you'd never know. Lies? Or half-truth? The twist gutted me. In the plea docs, leaked overnight, Jake's coercion detailed, blackmail over a DUI cover-up from law school, Victor's hook sunk deep. Had I misjudged?
No.
He'd chosen silence, chosen the ring over confession. I visited him once, through plexiglass, his eyes hollow. I loved you, he whispered. Still do. I pressed the receiver close. Love's a clock, Jake. You watched it tick down mine. Hung up, walked out into the spring rain, New York reborn me along with it. Epilogue came quiet, new firm, corner office of my own, Sarah my right hand. Victor rotted in white-collar purgatory, disbarred and divorced. Jake, community service and a ghost of a life.
Me?
Arya Thompson, Phoenix-scarred, building empires on the bones of betrayers. 2 minutes late once cost everything. This time, it bought the world.